The icon, Pam Grier, appeared on The View for a segment, and she made some comments that have gone viral, and the right is coming for us, so let's take a look at it.
75. You paved the way for Black female representation in the stunt industry as well. But before breaking all those barriers in Hollywood and other places, you faced a lot of racism growing up in Columbus, Ohio. How did that shape you?
Whew. Well, the military wouldn't allow Black families to live on the base, so you had to live in an apartment. And you couldn't take a bus. You couldn't afford a car. You walked. Your dads walked to the base. And sometimes we would go from tree shade to get back to the apartment. My brother and I, my mom, with bags, and my mom would go, "Don't look, don't look, don't look," and she'd pull us away. Wow. Because there was someone hanging from a tree. And they have a memorial for it now, where you can see where people were and left. And it triggers me today to see that a voice can be silenced. And if a white family supported a Black, they're gonna get burned down or killed or lynched as well.
Yeah.
Pam, you've done too many extraordinary things to highlight, but I do want to mention.
Wow, so people are saying that what Pam Grier said here wasn't true. They've gone back to look at some records at the Equal Justice Initiative and determined that it's impossible for you to be in Columbus, Ohio and see a man that was lynched in a tree, because last lynching in Columbus, Ohio, in Ohio was...
Right here, guys, this is directly from the Lynching Victims Memorial. Right here. And this is Ohio right here, folks. Look at this here. In Ohio, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 total lynchings in the history of Ohio. And I'm seeing a lot of 1800s here. However, look at this. The last one, June 27th, 1911. That was the last lynching in Ohio.
Isn't it possible that people were killed or lynched without it being notified to the Equal Justice Initiative? I mean, I'm not to discredit their quality, but I'm just saying, I mean, for instance, when I do numbers of cops, people dying in the custody of police officers, we never really know the true number, because cops are not mandated to report to, any reporting agency. So they don't have to tell anybody, tell if they want to. And if they declassified or reclassified, it's something other than a homicide, then it doesn't have to be reported at all. I mean, for instance, take George Floyd. George Floyd was ruled an accidental death. They didn't, medical emergency. And it wasn't until the footage was released, put up on the internet, that they even investigated the death of George Floyd. So what I'm saying is there are many cases just in a situation in the 21st century where cops or police officers are not required to report homicides. So what I'm saying is we're not always sure that the data is 100% correct, because not all data is collected. And mean to tell me, we're talking back in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or maybe they just didn't feel like reporting it. I mean, anything could have happened. So I'm not gonna call her a liar. I'm also not gonna say the Equal Justice Initiative doesn't keep accurate records. I'm saying, who knows? And maybe what you saw was a memorial or a community memorial to someone that was hung in a tree. And as a child, you might remember that as being a person, but maybe it was something that was made up to look like a person, as a warning that you could be next.
You paid what? You missed our life.
Police shootings were mislabeled and misclassified for decades. Some are still being misclassified. But the people that were shot or deceased are still deceased. So if we know that the system historically has hid violence from the public, why would you suddenly trust the system to be so forthcoming with the truth? Why is it suddenly so forthcoming? It doesn't have power to protect any longer? Just wondering. And remember, this is back in the 50s, or the 40s, or whatever, 50s.
everyone on the left will recognize that victim status is something that is very desirable, because when you're a victim and you tell a victim narrative about yourself and all of the things in your life that haven't gone the way that you want them to are somebody else's fault. Deeply enmeshed in this ideology, like a victimhood that they have, they don't even recognize absurd exaggerate. Like, they're just like, oh, well, that's her story of victimhood, so like I have to respect that.
You know what? I'm beginning to think that this dust up isn't really about accuracy when it comes to dates or accuracy when it comes to black people, violence against black Americans. I think this is more about discrediting black women and dumping on The View. And look, I got no problems with you dumping on The View. I dump on The View on a regular basis, so I'm not here to defend The View. But I do think that there's an ideological right versus left, or Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative thing going on. And people want to play for their team, right? They want to fight for their squad. But what I won't do is sit back here and allow Pam Grier to be crucified for dates or your version of dates. And she said she saw a body, maybe she did, maybe she didn't. Fact of the matter is, back to the core of this, there was a lot of racism in Columbus, Ohio. I noticed that some of the clips that were posted on X did not even include Pam Grier's statement about the segregation that was in place on the military bases.
The military wouldn't allow black families to live on the base, so you had to live in an apartment, and you couldn't take a bus. Couldn't afford a car. You walked. Your dads walked to the base.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that you would omit that. What, you're not proud of your history? You don't want that stated publicly? Yeah, I saw the edited versions of these videos. They all edited out what Pam said about not being able to, they couldn't live on base. So you could serve the country and die for the country, have PTSD for the country, but could not live with the white officers. The flag is blue and red. But since you're not white, now they talk about they want to demand the paperwork be gone over and make sure it's accurate, but at the end of the day, it's not to protect us, it's to protect their image of America. And say, when we talk about violence, even though she's talking about the past, you want to discredit it. That's because you don't really care about violence against black Americans. You care more about this patriotism, whatever this is. I gotta say that if you're standing for believing black trauma requires a perfectly filed government record, and the truth is, you probably won't believe most of it. Because most of our trauma and our pain is not going to be documented in the microfiche of the U.S. government. It's documented up here and here. Share this video with a friend, and thank you for watching The Tim Black Show, the most dangerous show in America.